We are live. Hello, everyone. My name is Richard Millett. Still am after 43 years. They still haven't gotten me, and they never fucking will. And don't ever forget, I am the one and only. And this is the quarantine stream. This is the 68th one, and this shall be the final one. So we have a lot to do tonight. A lot to do, a lot to say, a whole lot of information to disseminate, and we are going to do it. We're going to do our thing all over you. So let's get this started the best way, the only way. This is Flowers at the foot of the cave. Swinging light bulb above a cracked basement window, a painting depicting creation of creation in a makeshift bed. I made up a new name for you that I'll only keep in my head. My head. Look at the jewel resting in the bottom of the wooden cup, or the stack of handwritten sheets explaining the steps of the ritual in rich, deep red, and the names of everyone there exist in my head. My head. Charcoal renderings of saints ripped from a magazine and pinned to the door, dented bits of metal shaped to make a mosaic and pushed into the floor. Quarter-inch thick spray-painted silver ribbons looped like ringlets in the air, and the floating stray white veins from a feather landing on your hair. Here I sit half childish, with freshly washed clothes strewn over the chair. A tray with orange peels, melon rinds, and empty glasses rests balanced on the table's edge, while I'm reading a map leading to a room more colorful than the womb, where I can overhear things other than gurgling and organs rushing. But still, this will always be in its infancy, because love is where Genesis greets infinity. And for proof, you can look in my eyes, even though I won't confirm or deny how much of this is true. But I trust that will get worked out by you. How are we doing out there? Beautiful. So weird. All right. Sorry about that. All right. Oh, you know what we didn't fucking do? We didn't play the quarantine stream theme. God damn. Let us rectify that little problem right away, huh? Shit. I can't believe we didn't do that. We got all ahead of ourselves. Here we go. Yeah, I was so excited to get started. All right. This is I put out a book last year. It's called Apples and Ice Swimming Together in Soapy Water. You can find it very easily. All of my books are for free if you don't know. They're just one Google search away. But anyway, I put out this book last year. Very proud of it. I think it's a beautiful little collection of material. And it says what it needs to say. And we're going to read from a bunch of, we're going to read a lot of it tonight. So buckle in. This is called Transformacion. The gold-winged, gold-leaf ivory elevator door opened to reveal a portrait of an orchard saying, "This wicker basket contains every memory you've ever had, so if you've got a purple number, come over, pull out a slip, and start to reminisce." Me and my sister playing parlor tricks on the back seat while my dad turns up the radio to drown us out. Then he leans down, increasing speed on the way to the dog show. Come over, and pull out another favorite. Another favorite! Semi-finalists in the quarterfinals of our school district's annual spelling bee, and I got here on an easy word. Charisma. Afterward, we went out for ice cream cake, even though my mom wanted bagels instead, so we let her hold the trophy as something of a meta-fictional fucking consolation prize. Transformacion! The baby Lulu Lagoon gull-wing elevator doors open into a balloon crooning and a soprano profundo. Today you're in a classroom sitting in between a magic wand and a sprinkler behind a rhinoceros in front of a stethoscope, ready to make toothpaste out of erasers, lipstick, and hairspray. Today you're in the classroom and your substitute teacher is Adeline, a 102-year-old oak tree, and you're making birthday presents for her best friend. You're ready to make nylons out of eyeliner and passport pages filled with stamps of horse-shaped signatures. Transformacion! The pleated red vinyl elevator doors open to reveal a singing taxi. Today it's your birthday and you get breakfast in bed served on a star-shaped black and white television set, blinking lights on the pillow heads, milk on a blue and white dress. Today it's your birthday and you get a pink and blue book with blank pages to fill in with drawings, budgies and juice boxes, rainbows over razors, crisp bubble gum in between mint baseball cards. The gold-winged, gold-leaf ivory door opens to reveal a portrait of an orchard transplanted to a beach. Today, you're taking a surfboard out of a small bus while watching a girl pick up a wallet that just fell out of her purse, while your head is plate glass and your arms are oars and your hands are rafts. Today, you're making videos on the boardwalk of people roller skating while holding umbrellas or eating ice cream off of towels, while your mouth is a string swimming in circles, while daylight is young, and they intend to dream of a visiting lion full of pleasant flang tones rhyming ever so tinily and wrangly in something misheard and turned into a quiet joke among monks, and either brethering ein fair. We're going to do one from a book called Trace the Dim Signal. It's an older book. Came out in 2003. This is it's called Green Handprints. Any fucking second now, we are going to perform Green Handprints. That's right. This is Green Handprints. This is Green Handprints. I have a little piece of paper I have to remember, so don't let me forget it. I want to live in a house where someone else lives. I can't wait to save up and buy it, and there will be a gate. This is Green Handprints. I'm gonna save up and buy it, and there will be a gate. I can't wait to have a gate! I cut the red leaves of the poppies precisely into the shape of a collage. On the pages were wrapped tightly with navy blue and pink lettering. It was embraced like a spelling test. In the morning after the vibrator incident, and the mother-in-law was speechless. That mother-in-law taught herself how to yell in Chinese, and when she was a girl, she kept a knife in her bouffant, trying to be hot, trying to be a Shangri-La. You know, that was the whole thing with Mary Weiss and the Shangri-Las, is that That was the rumor, was that they kept knives in their pants. They were tough biker girls. Weren't they backed up by the fucking, what were they called? The amazing garage band that everybody loves? The Sonics. Weren't the Sonics were their backing band? Can you fucking imagine going to a review in 1965, 1966 and seeing that fucking shit? Green handprints on the wall in a scene of a film without verbs. She got tired of using ink to make words and sick of the golden light and bored with saying hand prayers if she did not have to. I pasted the latest magazines on my office wall to display the writing I'd sold to an ad agency. It's the most mature money I've ever made. The lines were, if you're wasted in life, you're invited to see me make a mistake. But the section the mother-in-law's daughter highlighted was the counteroffer saying, make a phalanx and erect the name, choose the time. You can float over it and rent the chariot to half-spent tourists. I declined and made my own t-shirt and lived in a trunk which brandished the placard, bring back Bugatti Rossi, and after that an asterisk and a footnote detailing the remnants of the IRA. I was moved by the officers. I licked my lips and walked into Borders. Remember those? Clutching some stolen hair from under my arm. I slept on every floor in the store. When I was in England in 1992, my mom and I were at a museum, and they started clearing all the people out. We asked Bobby what the commotion was all about, and he looked at me and he said, very quietly, very, very British, almost aristocratic, perhaps even. And he said, we found a package. And I was purely playing up being an ugly American, an ignoramus ugly American, corn-fed, milk-gorged ugly American. And we both just stared, and I was all like, a fucking package? Fuck you! And he was all like real quiet and like, real quiet. And it wasn't even a bomb. It was like cupcakes in a black bag. And the night before we got there, the IRA had blown up a bus full of soccer players as fucking some shit. And then they tried to blow up some bank. And I couldn't believe the nerve of that cop calling it a fucking package. That's like referring to the fucking planes leaving Kabul as a slight delay. The whole scene was like a ripoff of my favorite movie, the Academy Award-winning epic from 1983, Give Me Gang Warfare or Give Me Death, starring Dustin Hoffman and Meryl Streep, where they reenact the Revolutionary War. Instead of war, though, the Founding Fathers collect and trade stamps with the British, and due to budget restrictions, they use stamps with Washington and Franklin already on them. So in essence, the characters were trading for themselves, and it was at this point the American Sisters of Liberty and Suffrage staged a protest and declared the entire charade grossly inaccurate, and Congress agreed that only legal showings could be at Shriner meetings, but no one who saw it in the theater left without having at least a moment of historical reflection. And to me, if you have that kind of impact, in my opinion, you can at least die with a head full of credibility. And here's the end of the foil. Green handprints on the wall. My teacher wanted to visit my house before she moved. How you doing, Miss McGuire? Hope you're doing okay. I said, you can't do that, because everyone knows teachers never leave school. December 1981. Dateline. I did not write this. A truly great man did. What little things you say and do make me want to be with you. Rave on, it's a crazy feeling, and I know it's got me reeling when you say I love you. Rave on. The way you dance and hold me tight, the way you kiss and say goodnight. Rave on, it's a crazy feeling, and I know it's got me reeling when you say I love you. Rave on. Well, rave on, it's a crazy feeling, and I know it's got me reeling when when you say you're revealing your love for me. Rave on and tell me not to be lonely. Tell me you're my only rave on to me. This is, I wrote this about a decade ago, and it's strange how these things take on different meanings and whatnot over time. And perhaps if I'm being really, well, fuck that. This is, you can make, you'll know what I'm saying. This is, how we doing out there? This is, beautiful. This is called Sympathy for the Cowboy. Sympathy for the cowboy, all alone on the range. After the war ended, he was forced to change his name. Sympathy for the cowboy, holding his dying brother, who begged with his last breath, "Tell mother I died with honor." Sympathy for the meth lab and all who fight in harm's way, who hope to abolish minimum wage and charge only $15 a day. Sympathy for modern times and those who argue that they're right. Ugh. Sympathy for the victim who already has all the laws on their side. Sympathy for the student who's only lived in theory, in a hammer and sickle t-shirt, walking away from the barricade. Sympathy for the lawsuit and all who fought for reform. Sympathy for the bumper sticker telling you to be reborn. Sympathy for the stallion, running free and too wild to ride. Sympathy for the guy who tried, his wife cried, him and his foolish pride. Sympathy for the strawberry and the trial separations, press releases pleading for privacy, and of course, doing it for the kids. Sympathy for the nihilist, sucking on his cigarette, cutting you off in traffic, no constraints of guilt or regret. Sympathy for the stalker, on his computer outside, looking up pictures of you in high school, saving each one, even if it takes him all night. Sympathy for the cowboy, whose son moved off the ranch, said he might be coming back soon, if there's no change of plans. Hope you're all doing okay out there. Hope you're all having fun, staying safe. This is one from the most recent book. This is called Investigating Mitsy. She rides around the merry-go-round wearing satin slippers, chewing pink peppercorns. Her eyes are a miracle in the way they paint names in the minds of the rain clouds. The lightning reaches out to introduce itself. The Queen of Atlantis draws filigree for the king while he's taking his bath. Bristling lips kiss the teeth of the key ring and lick ankles in math. She holds a bouquet of clarinets, wearing a lavender herringbone robe and nodding at buckets of soap. Her elbows hold her weight on the sand dune decorated with still wet seashells and teacups half filled with a treacle she pours out onto tree roots. The Queen of Atlantis plans where the French and English will meet. The king eats suckling pig and excites the court over soaking his feet. This is from a book I put out in 2019. It is called, the book is called Citizenship. The poem that I'm going to read is, of course, Two Franciscan Nuns. Chewing mint leaves while crossing the Calumet River, the paper mill's exhaust pipes interrupt the vista. Mules weighted with surge protectors, hairspray, and cassettes. A riverboat of morphine-addicted ghosts over there on the left. Two Franciscan nuns wanted to build a hospital, but settled for organizing games of chance. In their hotel rooms, they squeeze out extra acidic orange juice and excommunicate people with unpleasant names from the phone book. Two Franciscan nuns helped decorate an admiral in the pensioner's home after he'd misplaced his uniform. They blessed his pills, kissed his parakeet, and as he slept, gathered sets of his false teeth to sell at the swap meet. It's very important. A brain with blood and oxygen is better than a fish who talks. You know what I'm talking about. What some people see as skin discoloration is, in fact, the natural pigmentation when viewed from the inside. Some newspapermen have always known this, and indeed, they have nothing to hide. That's right. All right, I wrote this in 1993 when I was 16. I wrote this in a small house in Michigan. And came back home and read it to my girlfriend at the time. And I just read it to her because I was like, "Oh, here's this poem that I wrote," and she had a big smile on her face, and she was like, "Oh my God, you wrote that for me?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." But now it can be told, true believers, I did not write this about her. This is written about God. So, yeah. This is called Pool. Your love brings me peace. Your beauty brings me fantasy. Your thoughts bring me reality. Our love so naked and pure, of the dirt, of the clouds. Your strength gives me courage. Your dreams complete mine. Our circle forever revolving. And this I wrote when I was 14. This is called Tongue in Cheek. I sit alone in my log cabin waiting. Don't you love the countryside? The dog that never ticks and the clock that never barks. The book I read was boring and made my feet hurt. Out of obligation, I decided to put the broom away. This is easy, and so are you. I could be a god all dressed up in a leather tuxedo. I'm surrounded by these goddamn menthol idiots. Word of mouth, dictation from the heavens. This is called, this is from the most recent book. This is called Lazy Angels. Squat woman sealed in a shadow frock, trimmed in white, absence of light, selling stories from her garden that she demands are heard, but is instead greeted with the silence of the crowd's indifference. She doesn't already know that we can breathe and that we can leave. She can't see that we already can walk through doors and open windows. Counterfeit prophet steals the locks. Illegal son, zero as one. Selling pictures of her dinner her guards are obliged to buy, even as her art collection is vanishing until the walls have nothing left hanging. She doesn't already understand that we can perceive and we can receive. She can't see that we can paint flowers with any of the colors that we can imagine, and we can imagine all of them. Their far and distant minds are trails best left the drain under a rotting stage, 6-month wage, selling reports carefully whispered in hopes her wealthy relatives will let her sign their wills first. She doesn't already know that we are her, twice as much or more, a complete verse. She can't see the red and gold bird flying right above. She can't see that we are her, twice as much or more. She can't see that she hands her keys to a steed who gallops away, away into the orange rolling hills. Orange rolling hills, orange rolling hills, orange rolling hills. This one, this is a topical piece, I guess. So in 2001, I did a book called War is Terrorism. Um, who would have thought that 20 years later, the war would have quote unquote just ended, though I'm sure we will be back soon enough. It certainly doesn't feel like a victory, does it? This is called Naïve. I'm told that I am naive for being a pacifist, that pacifism can't work and will never work. Is it naive to believe that human beings can live without the mutilation and destruction of each other? I don't think that's naive at all. I think it's naive to think that we can't make any progress, that we're stuck with our worst images, trapped by bloodlust, captured by the racism of nationalism, that we'll never improve, that we're nothing but doomed. Someone who thinks that suffering is necessary is naive. Someone who thinks that war is in our spirit is naive. Someone who thinks that sometimes you have to kill is naive. It takes courage to not extract revenge. It takes courage to see through someone else's weakness. It takes courage to not be blindly led into being an executioner. It takes courage to know that human beings have no reason to kill each other, and that no situation calls for violence against another. Here's another old one. I wrote this in the summer of 1995. Or late spring, I guess, of 1995. This is called Yes. The soundscapes fly from dusk, sterility restricted to their thoughts. Bleak as the day they were born. But the concrete is in a state of flux, and the forest lies under a soiled blanket of lucid dreams. Pale-faced disintegration in the awestruck, penniless geometric cluster and its meaningless tradition. For some quiet, they'd drink shattered glass. For some peace, they'd murder a stillborn baby. Savages behind closed doors, but who commits treason and defines what's pure? With the precise rhythms and the headache medicine, memories seep through like blood under a fingernail. We never know when it's finished. The wave just rides. Preface to manifest slavery, entire chapters to write, planets of aliens to conceive. We never know when it's finished. The wave just rides. This is called Windy Sequins. Through the missing bricks, you can see a banquet table with a candelabra crooked from water-falling wax. On the other side of the missing bricks, there is a tablecloth with faintly gray claw stains left by mourning doves. Through the missing bricks, there is a banquet table, heaving with indentations from apples, persimmons, cantaloupes, and pears. On the other side of the missing bricks, there is a deer walking in the distance, while a finger painting floats to the ground. Through the missing bricks, there is a banquet table, with unopened telegrams and sturdy silver trays, stacked up with books about the Enlightenment. On the other side of the missing bricks, there is a pebble garden placed on a tree branch next to a mortar and pestle. Through the missing bricks, there is a banquet table, lined along the bottom right edge with bowls of cold dandelion soup. Seated 45 degrees away from the banquet table is a man with a salt and pepper waxed mustache humming waltzes and complaining about the distortions of sounds and colors. 110 years old, and he doesn't know that electric blue can be beautiful too. Excuse me. This is called 3% Profit. Waking up to the sun-soaked world and the eyes of a diamond stretching out from a full circle, I was at a recital resting on a bed of feathers and then floated to the front of the festivities. I Mercury step leap through the lake and land in a leafy soft meadow, my legs a blurring winding wheel. My mom and dad hold out boxes. They walk together to an airplane, then climb up and run across the wings. But soon it's nice and quiet for me, as we can plainly see. I tied a string around an anteater, as we can plainly see. The newspaper says it's better to have metal teeth, as we can plainly see, but I would rather bathe in butter, as we can plainly see. I nicked a little bit of hammer and nail on my way onto the helicopter. What I knew of physics sped up my entrance. Never seen the sky be so brave and wide, or thought about the joy in watermelons. And when I carefully left the step stool and went into the underground ice tunnel, I ran across a humidifier so the motor could keep my feet warm and not get harmed by frostbite. My eyes hide behind a pregnant woman's stomach while a laser rings into my ears. I try to open a case of sewing supplies, but to my surprise, the latch is bandaged shut. I breathe yellowed air and drink bubbling water and play with friends who live in the shower. We are hitting a really weird technical problem that is inexplicable. Jesus Christ. And it was going so well. I wonder if this is affecting the broadcast. Wow. That's pretty bad. How are we doing out there? All right, we're going to pick right. The cracks decline my invitations to dance, so therefore they're unwanted. I hiss into the sink until they crawl back so that my party can stay filled with levity and not too much gravity, so I paste my Polaroids all over the walls in geometric patterns and steal some dinner from the next door neighbors as it's their fault for having given me a key. My sleeves festooned with pins and wind chimes dangle and jangle, thus announcing my arrival. A curl in the best nest with an arm that won't do you harm. An idol vibrating on a whirring appliance, as we can plainly see. And soon I'm ready to eat, nothing moving suddenly, as we can plainly see. And even dreams, as we can plainly see. That was weird. This is one I wrote in Rhinelander when I was 16. I stayed up all night writing it. I've told this story before, but I'll tell it here. I brought Highway 61. No, I brought Blonde on Blonde, a Velvet Underground compilation. I think America's Most Wanted by Ice Cube, and Fear of a Black Planet. And I got Highway 61 while revisited while I was up there, and was just going back and forth between Public Enemy and Highway 61, just trading off and writing a little bit at a time. I wrote I think 3 poems this night, but the bulk of it was spent writing this and revising it along the way. And I came back at home and read it, and people were excited, and it was lovely. And Union. Well, it's been fourscore for you, living in the sweet depression sanctuary of solitude. I laugh behind your back and call you honky with an attitude, because you fool yourself cohabitating in reality, banality, too high on yourself to taste your own mortality. I'd love to slap you, but I'm just too sweet for brutality. My fairy feller friend wallows in his Gen X apathy. He cuts his right hand just to see it bleed. He'll never realize life's more than his own room, you see, because he got sold down the river working from 8 till 3. Little lost soul coasting on puppy dog love, listening to wedding bells and chasing all the doves. Well, friend, open your eyes wide, because the girl screwed in the corner you picked for your bride, too warped with illusions to see that she lied. So go to a party and get your brain cells fried. So now I roll with the suburban poet god. Moses bought into it all and pricked himself on the roses, thought he was above the hype slang in the scene. Woke up one day from his marijuana dream and spent the rest of his youth just trying to keep clean. What a waste, said the sheriff when he arrived at the scene. But her individuality came at a price. Dyed the hair purple and tossed the social dice. Her floodlight party. Now she sits there just like wet ash, garbling the words, where the hell's my stash? Then take a look at a girlfriend sitting all on her own, got no one to call, don't even got a home, ripping off the talk and copping the look. Be sure to be cool and read all the right books. Dealing with the devils, trying to make some time, ain't got no thoughts, so she tries to leech mine. Sounds like a fool when she calls up and whines. And they'll all spend their lives standing in checkout lines. And they goddamn well did, didn't they? This is this is another one that's about a decade old. It's weirdly not coming up. Maybe no. Let's see. I tell you, I will not miss the weird technical problems that occasionally happen. I was prepared for this, so I do have a backup. Come on. Here we go. All right. This is called. So I wrote this about a decade ago. It has taken on, I dare say, all sorts of weird meanings since then. But I'm comfortable with that. Hopefully you are as well. If you're watching this, you probably are. This is called A Moderate Man. I went walking through the morning to enjoy the autumn air. Frank then strode into the center of the circle with 3 men by his side. Frank abruptly unfolded his note and started speaking. The 3 men reshaped in a line behind Frank as his inimitable voice intoned, "Men in masks shall not live on your land, for they are cowards whose spirits are trapped. Thou art born without caste. Your soul is unshared, and judgment shall not be passed or carried out by committee on your quiet acts." Frank, flanked by the 3 men, then swiftly left, while the crowd collectively shuddered. And there were mutterings of, "What Frank giveth doth not equal what he takes. Heart of fowl, eyes of a snake, words of an apostate." I followed the trail back to my home whilst conversing with Pastor Corbett. A neighbor in good faith, family or friend that doth not make. I remember I read that a few years ago when I started doing readings again, and it got a very nice applause. And not that I didn't appreciate it, but I just remember thinking, do you know what you're applauding? Like, that's a very peculiar response to get a. It's nice, but odd. It's one of the times that I expected someone to yell out, "What the hell does that mean?" And then they have to, like, talk to me about it out in the parking lot, because there's nothing more that I love than that. This is called parallel place. I live in a parallel place where the land is level, where the streets are bright in the evenings and I know what tomorrow brings. I live in a parallel place where the wind is cold, where gray-haired men sweep the bandshell and foxes sleep underneath church bells. I hear the lank-haired women walking in the morning, their faces shaped by the sun. I live in a parallel place where there's endless electricity with very low voltage, where everyone dies of old age. I live in a parallel place where rain runs into a tunnel, where able-bodied women clear the gutters and dragonflies rise in a slow-motion flutter. I see the able-bodied men hauling fallen branches, their faces shaded by the sun. I live in a parallel place where people speak in peace, where the foreman's spouse greets the mailman in a see-through blouse. I live in a parallel place where the forest faces east, where contracts are written in invisible ink and codes are created with a wink. I see all the people breathing through the day, their faces graced by the sun. Blissful cardinals, blissful infants, blue reflections magnified 10,000 times, blue beams bouncing off aged lenses, radiant artifacts, radiant heirlooms, white sails blistered by the salty sun, white china stacked up in cupboards, shining domes, shining necklaces, green feelings balanced on a yardstick, green parchment weighted down by grapes. Okay, so this next one that I'm going to do is from a book I did a couple of years ago called The Female Perspective. The poem is called Blue-Soaked Scepter. I carried it around in my head the better part of 4 years before I actually finally wrote it. And I've performed it many times here on the quarantine stream. And it's just been it's hard to explain my relationship with it, but suffice to say I have one. So the kink in my neck that runs to my kidneys, distracting me from movies I've long since memorized and repeating quotations I've lived inside of. And I've no desire to rewrite history that doesn't concern me. When what I didn't know already felt familiar, when I saw the inscription on my commemorative plaque had been worn back to smooth silver, when I slipped behind the mist, changed clothes, washed my hands, and shaved with no light and with no intention of anyone seeing my face for a while, I was willingly walked through a coal-stained city lot and deposited in the back seat of an already running windowless army green car, which was then locked from the outside. Mary! Had I abandoned my practice, committed an indirect affront in my brief absence? My name is Keith. The beggar at my door raised his arms, but soft, while I listened to his parables that had no center. My name is Luke, with an auspicious mistress beside me. I looked at a baby looking out a window at fluttering street signs. My name is Julia. My temper was gentle as I read a sermon called, Are You Here to Celebrate the Death of Death? My name is Giles. I wish that I'd been obscured when my ears were bitten with endearment while I was plainly ignored. My name is Grace. I was observed by 3 people whose accounts proved suggestible and fractured. My name is Abigail. I faced hard construction when I, in truth, spoke forcefully about my forged fingerprints. My name is Morgan. I spent twilight empty, save for sketching a red tunic on bent paper. My name is Brooke. I was registered in a hotel under an assumed name and made lists of families that I pitied. My name is Gabriel. I singed my hair and clothes, trying to be recalled. The sky's been moonless for 29 nights. Why couldn't I stay? I was bothered by the way the streetlights hit the trees and reflected off the leaves. Motherfucker, seriously. Tonight, of all nights. Unbelievable. We're starting that part over. The sky's been moonless for 29 nights. Why couldn't I stay? I was bothered by the way the streetlights hit the trees and reflected off the leaves. I took a knife and short length of rope. 6 hours later, I'm waiting for you to arrive, carrying a scepter and wearing a breastplate with frayed shoulder blades and exhausted eyes. I'm waiting for you to arrive, sitting cross-legged on the sodden deck with wayward souls who were barely seen. I leapt off the ledge and was soon out of haunt as I climbed the concave shores, wondering if I should forage, catch a gudgeon, or eat unbruised fruit that had fallen. The gravelly, guttered soil gave way to encroaching forest, dense with rows of weighted wet purple limbs that succumbed to gravity and wind. Then abruptly I was in the center of a champaign, and the only objects I found were short rows of tree stumps and stones, each carved with the query, "What made you look here?" I jounced away into the odd even and was again pursued by the thicket's reach. The thorns licked my calves, the anthill shone like pebbled glass. I brushed past a frog with a violet tongue and discolored teeth, whose body gulped for relief, while his body remained static like a splayed thread in aspic. I made my way into the antres and found myself prating, pray tell what you remember of working your hands into the mud and feeling it curl up under your fingernails. It feels like a relic reunited with its original setting after having been figured lost or only seen in a dream. At times I glanced around for the traveling lamp while standing beside the curvature, hearing myself call the datelessly abandoned visitors and leasing and be faithfully young-eyed. I returned once more to the champagne and sat among the stones in silence. But I received no visions or visitations, no inspiration to invent an incantation, and in this vacuum of communication, I only experienced the sense or perchance suggestion of the imposing press of eras and atmosphere. And now I notice this restless weather, shy beams of sunlight moving sideways through the strings of remaining rain. This is another one I wrote almost 2 decades ago, 19 years ago. Again, has taken on all sorts of weird other meanings. I've said this before, I will say it again. The opening is based on, first part of this is written around John Walker Lind, for anyone who remembers who that is. If you don't, it's just a quick search away. This is called People. I am a young man, closed off in this room. My name, it doesn't matter. Where I'm from, I can't tell you. I always wanted to control my own destiny, not share responsibility, so I could be free. They sent me off to college so I could learn the law. I met a lot of people, each one with a different cause. I turned myself to physics and astronomy to see if I could throw away the seeds they'd put in me. I drifted down to the south and I saw it was vast. I memorized equations on the eyeless ending sand. I knew that my superiors, they were very strong. They would put me up in space and never steer me wrong. But my expectations didn't fly. They kept me on the ground. The paperwork was drafted and I was shown around. They checked my past for arrests. My retinas were scanned. I hoped that there would come a day where I could take command. They made me go and lock the doors and cue the landing lights. It was a secret mission in the middle of the night. The burners started blaring. I crawled inside my suit. Knew I wouldn't come back even if they asked me to. I am a young man closed off in this room. My name, it doesn't matter. Where I'm from, I can't tell you. I always wanted to control my own destiny. Wanted to go and vanish up in the slipstream. The Emperor looked at the head of the brain, opened his mouth and smeared the remains. He dressed his servants as nymphs and pans, little boys in the nude, stayed in the pool to bite on his body while he swam. His sister said, "If breath is a blade, then desire's the cage. Claim your birthright before you're saved." Had his mother killed, made it a crime to laugh, attack the statue whose clothes matched his own, his bleeding fist sunk into the gold. He memorized the lives of the gods. Jezebel stole him a tunic. He began planning his burial. At night he debated with Jupiter. He saw Palatine Hill. The volcanoes were calm before the Christians burned. Diamond-tipped shovels were used to pierce the columns and arches, jewels and violins. The violins on Palatine Hill played like birds colliding in the air. The torches flared. All the grain was set glowing. The senator's body rolled back on the sheets, his speech like a paused spasm, murmuring, "I'm nursing a viper." The rest of the ward willingly succumbed immediately. In the middle of the gymnasium were booths with men in bulletproof vests, giving out ballots and voluntary vaccinations to guard against contaminants. While in line, you could read pamphlets on the issues or flip to pictures of festering boils. It's slippery and strange to walk all alone. Sealed lips will keep the borders closed, and no infestations will travel north. Nothing to arrest security. Just a cure to keep people in the grasp of liberty. The medicine was made with pearls dissolved in vinegar. The choice was made by pulling the lever. The searchlights were made for us by the protector. A thief entered. Everyone was roused. The wife and kids looked at the head of the house. He opened his robe and threw a small bomb. Later, standing over the intruder's body, he thought through history and spoke his favorite quote. "I want him to feel like he's dying." Free grain for everyone who asks. Free grain for everyone who enters. Wheat in exchange for marble. Wheat for the state. She takes the leather, squirms in the saddle. The dust closes her eyes. I can see the red jacket from here. Two girls climb the stairs, very poised and aware. They'd been here before, the Los Angeles smog against their backs. Two men arrive the next morning to drop off a pair of glasses and smear the window pane. The teenager can't make a sale, so he packs up his stereo equipment and his clock radio and exits out past the telephone pole. When they were done, they sat in the kitchen and carved up some watermelon. An hour later, they threw away their clothes. Young man in the backyard. The owner doesn't know he's there. Taking a drink from the garden hose. Drops his flashlight on the ground. He dropped his flashlight on the ground. This is called Should I Go In? Actually, before that. We will do this. This is called. I'll tell the story one more time since this is the last performance. Many years ago, so it's what 2021 now. So this would have been maybe 2014 or so. I had a had we all have our things in life, and he happened to have a drug problem, and he also happened to be vegan and lived in a European country, and had heard that her tales told that the heroin supply in Europe at the time, the heroin was cut with lactose, and he was desperate for a new connection and wondered aloud in a Facebook post if there was a way to obtain, as he phrased it, cruelty-free heroin. And I said to him, you know, probably, chances are, perhaps, from the poppy fields to your spoon, there's most likely been some cruelty that will have occurred. Just something to keep in mind. So this is cruelty-free heroin. When the Guardian goes mad, the sun rains against their eardrums, indistinguishable from Morse code tapping out on a copper plate. Yes, when the Guardian has gone mad, they're found singing love songs to tanks, draping staircases and flags, breaking car windows to decorate their faces with the glass. When the Guardian goes mad, they're captured pushing a pickaxe into an LED screen and detained for threatening to throw snakes at gas station attendants. When the Guardian goes mad, people suddenly remember to turn on AM radio and patiently follow guidelines before filing a full report, though there are always doubters and passers-by who start conspiracies, the usual being that this was some sort of planned distraction or a false flag. If the Guardian goes mad, they'll arrive at every awards ceremony with a mirror in hand and a ribbon under their chin and make demands to review the voting processes when they don't win. If the Guardian goes mad, they'll rue the day they lost control of their relationships, spending weeks hiring staff to bury paperwork they'll insist doesn't exist. If the Guardian goes mad, all their meals shall consist of orange peels pulled from chain link fences and burned coffee flavored with molded peach preserves, though there are always doubters ready to offer an opinion of unverifiable proof, summarizing that death and maps are the only real measures of impact. I once had someone argue that to me, and they also argued that the people of Detroit deserved what they got because while they were working in the factories, they weren't sharpening their computer skills, so it was all their fault. And hey, these companies can just do whatever they want and outsource wherever they want, and that is their right to do so. Can you imagine being that fucking sick? If the Guardian cracks up, they'll spend bleak days envisioning trees committing suicide, grandmothers doing crystal meth for the first time, and gnats smeared into toothpaste. If the Guardian cracks up, 7 strangers stuck in a bank will claw at each other to seek cold air in the vault and wait for their families and firemen to arrive and dig them out. If the Guardian cracks up, pirates will walk their own planks and devour themselves once they hit the water, thrashing back at their gnashing teeth, running the seas red until hunter and prey are finally one. Ignorance! Arrogance! The pest control man said unto me, when I was in Japan, I bought cherry bread in a can. I opened it with a knife and slit off the I returned back to the West. Bliss, tolerance. The pest control man said unto me, sometimes my apartment building turns into a vending machine, and I get deposited out into the evening to provide goods and services for lucky couples with good taste and a few wandering dollars to rub together. And while we're at it, I know I said that we do should I go in, and we will, but we'll get to that. This is Diamond Mine, and again, I will tell the story that the You Need Lights part of this. One of Lou Reed's last interviews, he said that he always hated having to be a part of show business, and he tried to do everything he could to not be a part of show business. But he said, it all starts because you need lights. And he goes, everything, all the compromises start from there. People have to be able to see you. And given things that I've noticed in the zeitgeist, I just expanded upon that. This is called Diamond Mine. Water rushing so fast it looks like knotted wood. Its sound a ceaseless perpetual crash in static blue and black. Droplets burst over the plank sides and dot the dirt or land on kicked-out bricks, and from the ravine's opposite angle, the water seems to glide clockwise, rolling ever nearer toward the gears, and into the factory where 7 years previous the core of the industry sunk unexpectedly early, and like a defense attorney, the treasurer ruled the materials used were archaic and their methods unrealistic. And as demand seized up, the foreman and night shift technicians acidly joked they were laboring within the Great Repression. For ages it seemed like the beams from the afternoon sun wouldn't come, but we later learned the view was obscured from a flood that started in the diamond mine. We know it's either tacitly implied or we're told outright, you can't be seen like that. You need lights. When money is exchanged and you're finally responsible and realistic, you can't be seen like that. You need lights. Know the value of being articulate and reconsider your obscure subject. You need to stay in the lines. You need to revise. Realize the need to eliminate images that would be unwise to present or ideas that you'd be unable to defend. Why persist if honest people cannot implicitly understand? You can't be seen like that. You need lights. For years it seemed like the beams from the afternoon sun wouldn't come, but we later learned the view was obscured from a flood that started in the diamond mine. Back in the head office, on the desk next to the coffee, scissors, and gold pen set, was a black leather envelope in that morning's newspaper, whose subheadline read, "Forget Forgetfulness," and detailed the local photographer who makes elaborate, enormous, near-twin gelatin prints of events, one real, one staged, and described the effect as painting over paintings. When asked by the reporter, who will get this, the photographer remarked, anyone who misses being pure, or ever imagined placing one point in time over another, not the shape of their own mind. Anyone who sees a crowd and tries to find the people in disguise. Later, the paper lay open to the crossword puzzle, and among answers written in indeterminate script were asides like, does purpose follow appearance? Where is this from? Reasons better than because. And finally, determining what to become. Cool. This is written by a great man. I did not write this. This is called Insight. Who's that kid in the back of the room? Who's that kid in the back of the room? He's setting all his papers on fire, setting all his papers on fire. Where did he get that crazy smile? Where did he get that crazy smile? We all think he's really weird. We all think he's really weird. Ooh, we never talk to him. Ooh, he never looks quite right. He laughs at us and we just beat him up and what? He sees us, gets us, sign. We've never seen him with a girl. We've never seen him with a girl. He's talking to himself again. He's talking to himself again. Why doesn't he have tons of friends? Why doesn't he have tons of friends? Says he's bored, doesn't hang around. Says he's bored, doesn't hang around. Ooh, we never talk to him. Ooh, he never looks quite right. He laughs at us and we just beat him up. And what he sees escapes our sight. Sight! We're all planning our careers. We're all planning our careers. We're all planning our careers. He says we're growing old. This is called a Conspiracy of Silence. We walk by each other on the street. You do not speak. I can see you have no ambition. You can see I have no standards. I do not speak. We are equals. We are parallel. I've seen you in the water. You've seen me dream. You never eat. I never sleep. Turn your head. Bend your neck. Tiny flower pressed to your chest. We walk by each other on the street, never met, but there's still a blink of recognition. We enter the plane, we're flying over England, viewing from behind the wings, seeing St. George's Cross spread over the aisles, all the way down to the carriage of the Queen. It's a conspiracy. 35mm slow motion of Bernini's St. Longinus. Who wrapped it round and hung the wires that laid at the feet of the empire? Ever picked up that call? Ever read those books that are still in the basement? We walk by each other on the street. We don't know each other and we don't speak. I roll my eyes and you repeat the conversation from a passing taxi. It's a conspiracy. Blue, green, we are water, etching lines in rock, running diagonal patterns on the face of the clock, blurring the note on the windscreen, a pristine, steady stream, or drops from the sky echoing to your mouth. And you need to ask, wondering like your feet are on fire and these are your first steps into the bath. A murmur, a moan, and you need to ask, ever feel the fog touch your curled hair in the everlasting afternoon? All my dreams, all my dreams, all my dreams are in blue and green. The herring was red. I sleep on a purple bed with fresh white sheets. It's a conspiracy. With a wink of complicity, I can slip right in and inside. Improvisation. No, a pantomime playing at the Museum of the Mind. It's easy, it's instant, it's open. If you want it and I want it. Does it diverge from memory? It's a conspiracy. Did the blue dog climb up your stairs? What kind of candy was it? And when did you take it? It's a conspiracy. Like the lilting willow, we walk from window to window. We don't know each other. The tempered glass is salt water in our hands. And I think I need to give thanks. I think I see a lantern you're holding out of the ground, and more like the weeping wall curled into a ball and newly resolved. It damn sure ain't a pantomime. It's a mystery. It's a conspiracy. Ever swing on the gutter like a vine? Ever fly over the jungle in a silver plane? See it wet with rain? We walk by each other on the street. You've seen me. I don't know you, and we don't speak. There's an open hand above your head, but it's an optical illusion from the clouds without sound. It's your secret to keep. It's a conspiracy. Was that you on the balcony? What did he say? The painting there. Did you find it confusing? Think it lacks meaning? But look, right to left, not center down. It's all one scene. Do you see it now? It's a conspiracy. Yes, you heard me and made me admit your moment, your Pyrrhic victory. Can I have this dance? It's a conspiracy. We walk by each other on the street. We see each other and we don't speak. Your fingernails are blue. Your lipstick is green. The leather on your boots is frayed at the seams. And I know that in your dreams, you're still 15 with a stolen cigarette you nicked from the vending machine. and the lung branches are soaked and your bubble perm is fast falling. And wouldn't it be funny if your interior life from now on is just this moment endlessly repeating, same photograph on the wall, mistaken for a mirror, and you can identify and you can empathize, but you can't know what on earth. I always see each other on the street. Duke Ellington, East St. Louis plays the theme. Cast iron boat, Sterling Silver Symphony. We don't know each other. You start to speak, but it's drowned out by the man with the loudspeaker and the papers proselytizing his religious beliefs. It's like we're curators, caretakers for something we never saw, never knew, but understand purely on instinct and instant assimilation, empathy, ecstasy, impressions of the senses. We are the examples. It is ours to not let the charted land that gives us food to eat and water to drink, a place to walk and live, vanish in clouds, or become such a stranger that we're only hearing clashing tongues and react with a stance that turns wretched, frozen, and cavalier. We will reach and remain unlabeled, walk free in the community, fly over and under unanimity. We are the examples. We trace the dim signal. We will remain enthralled and observe the entrance and relics and rituals without, and then he used to kiss her often on her mouth. When you talk to the clouds, can you? When you talk to yourself, father's mother, 7 flowers on 7 stars on the chest of the Creator. We realize what is within and outside of us, what's invisible to the eye and eludes our touch. We understand the light inside the image obscures the image inside the light, the red and blue, the blue and green. You never sleep. We see you dream. It's a conspiracy. A very wise, very wonderful, very genius, very perfect woman said to me, you see a chair as it is, but when you burn the chair, you see that the chair in your head did not burn or disappear. Motor oil on a block of ice, river of fire where a miracle was denied, filtered water poured carefully on top of a block of ice and seeping down the slanted floor slowly toward the recording device, from whom no secrets are hid. I'll believe this one thing even if the rest of the list is lies, until we crystallize straight to heaven. It's a conspiracy? Of course. They're sitting in a circle. A celebration among friends, sharing your favorite passages out of a blank book, closed circle making notations on the pages with a candle wick, and the chandelier hangs beautifully, laughter sparkles, and the champagne from the cellar under the cellar is free. Yes, it's a conspiracy. You walked in, I woke up. We were docked outside Oyster Bay on a mutual friend's houseboat. You arranged the table, gave a long look, and said, I'll give you good reason to take away my right to vote. We see each other on the street, eyes looking at the stoplight intently, drinking coffee that smells like crayons. The guy next to me on his iPhone reads, intimations of infidelity were a red herring. Me and the guy selling streetwise laugh at his timing. Must be a counselor, apparently, or a confidence man, or a trial lawyer playing fast and forgetful with the facts, or a city planner changing his mind with a passing glance. We're walking out of Preston, zipping up your leather jacket. When you said you laid nude with your adversary, I asked how it happened. You accepted the invitation, met in the garden, rested your heads on the stone wall that runs the perimeter. Did you pay rapt attention when the nightingale told his fairy tale? Did you ache in the silent seconds of the confession? You see me on the street. I see what's in your hands. Our eyes do not meet. As people walk out of Walgreens, you ask, did you pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you? Do you bless those who curse you? I'll tell you this, it's a conspiracy. The morning mass was busy ignoring any message that wasn't theirs. It's a conspiracy? Was that a sneer? We know! She was standing on a corner in South London under a red umbrella on a sunny day, glass necklace and a gold waist chain. Do you have a title? Yeah, but I can't tell you. Look, can I take what I need? Please. I said to her, she said to me, I'm your sister and you just don't know it. Not a martyr, a seer, not an abandoned spirit. Is this Don Giovanni? It's a conspiracy. I hailed the limousine. We walked by each other on the street. We never met. I know what kind of fruit you eat. I have no ambition. You're trying to get my attention by throwing a flag on the feet of the gentleman delivering a block of marbled meat with a business card tucked neatly in the wrapping. 7 numbers in blue ink over the lettering. Did you count the columns around the building? 34 in a perfect circle. Ever been up to the top floor, skip school one morning and take the tour? We walk by each other on the street. You're carrying a painting. We won't speak. I don't sleep. You cannot dream. You walk up to the white door and wait for access. You left a book on your desk. The cover was worn and the binding was torn, but you like the questions that it asks. Razor cuts. How many songs can you sing in the sun? How long is the transmission? 7 flowers on your chest. It's not for lack of trying. It's a conspiracy. You walked in an oval. You thought over each permutation of the image's meaning. You looked through the stainless steel window and down to the streets. Then you looked at me. It's a question of genealogy. We see each other. We do not speak. The question, they looked at you. You looked at me. It's a conspiracy. All right, this is from 1997. I've read this one many times. This is a poem about freedom. So it's about freedom. It has a bad word in it. And I used to go into long conversations about the bad word. And at this point, I just think if you're a stupid baby, you'll get offended by it. And if you're not a stupid baby, then you will appreciate what this is saying. So this is I Never Run Out of Money. He got in the car just to drive away. It was 80s night on the radio, and he felt his eyelids quiver from the thoughts left behind them. He always wanted to go out with one of the older kids, and he sped past her house to remind himself that the whole thing had not, in fact, been fiction. He had to chew on tablets of ephedrine just to stay awake as he careened down a one-lane town. The clock read 2:14 a.m. Name another place where you don't have to worry about the cum on your coat from the guy in back of you on the bus, or the weekend at Boys Town where you lost all your money, where you can die for the 50 stars and still get reborn, where you can vomit on someone else's tonsils and still go home with them for the night, and you know that when you got a dime bag in your lap and you can drive the service entrance to paradise, it's not a privilege, it's a birthright. He was always fascinated by the kids who looked a few years older, who looked coked up by the age of 13. The news came from Washington. He had a fantasy that he kept kissing her on her forehead. Oliver North had been acquitted and Fawn Hall wasn't to blame, just like when they arrested Manuel Noriega because he wouldn't pay cash for all the shipping costs of all his cocaine. He pulled into Super K for some Coca-Cola and saluted the limp American flag on the way in. Rolling Stone had Bruce Springsteen on the cover, and he felt like he had razor blades inside his stomach. Somehow, everyone felt left down by the Gulf War. It wasn't as bloody as My Line. It wasn't as funny as Grenada. And gooks weren't bombed in the process. The commodities and golden parachutes kept all the middle management well liquored up by the time the first Bush was giving his resignation speech. Voodoo economics and the crack epidemic sometimes made you wish that Nixon had been right all along, but this never seemed to bother him, and the national debt never meant shit to any decent citizens, especially not the kids who saw Heathers when it was still in the theaters. He got off his phone, and with one of his friends who complained that crack smoking was just a quote-unquote cheap ghetto high, the erythromycin was fucking up his liver, but at least it kept the acne off. He read a book about Charles Manson and figured the only difference between him and Nixon was a few hours on the couch with Dr. West. A few years in jail and a copy of the White Album, but still the thought of Squeaky or Sadie dressed up in their black capes, creepy crawling into someone's house was still freaky enough to keep him sleeping out on the couch. That night, he had a horrible dream. Eric Estrada was hosting a beauty pageant at the Playboy Mansion, featuring categories like worst facelift and most fucked up tit job, but he couldn't walk away from the spectacle of it all. All he could do was to slug down a bottle of Thunderbird and cradle a hard-on, while slobbering, "I do believe I'm ready for the Playboy Mansion. I want to see Hef. Open up those goddamn gates." But we woke up before the former First Lady wet t-shirt contest and ran to his car in horror. He flicked on the ignition and before sent a homemade tape, and there he heard Joey Ramone going, "I'm a Nazi, baby, I'm a Nazi, yes I am. I'm a Nazi shotzi and I fight for the fatherland. I'm a Nazi, baby, I'm a Nazi, yes I am. I'm a Nazi shotzi and I fight for the fatherland." And then he heard Johnny Rotten go, "Belson was a gas I had the other day at the open grave where the Jews are laid. Life is fun and I wish you were here. They are the postcards, those held dear. Oh dear, oh dear. See the bodies on the march, wash the bodies in the starch. See them all die one by one." And Also, joy and pain had leaked out, and he thought about how much he hated those old political arguments. He heard that individuals are symptomatic of a sicker society. He came upon Super K, the great beacon for people who are lonely and sheep, and admired its neon beauty against the black backdrop sky. He was looking sideways and feeling sick about what was smothering up the rest of the land. Strip mall upon strip mall, grids and rows of anonymous stores. He thought about how all this used to be a beautiful forest and how disgusting it was that every developer was using their own lunch hooks to get a portion of the profits. He felt his stomach tighten from the thought of another obese teen selling Swatch watches and sunglasses, but then he turned his head forward, away from the strip mall, and saw nothing but outstretched lanes of tree branches and unpainted roads, and he knew that he was finally getting ready to go home. Sitting watching TV, another preacher choked by greed, and it's making my eyes bleed. But it's not God that he sees, it's money that he needs. So I asked, what is religion? Because it ain't about crucifixion or the Sermon on the Mount, because it's your pledge that counts. And I can't see why people fly to the system that's tried to buy, pry, and lie to your soul. Take control of your mind. Don't be blind. We are all divine, and you are not their kind. The litany of the Trinity holds some back, and their psyche cracks from the Bible on their backs. Don't be a slave to salvation. Make no hesitation to see what you've missed. Already made St. Pete's list, because I pissed on the fundamentalist. One is an old favorite from 1994 that we don't do nearly enough. This is called Whatever You Think. Go naked. My skin is coming off. God is gay. Abort Christ. Rape a cop. All right, now we're going to do Should I Go In? The silver pepper mill whispers to the hammer that she's an airport. And though she never really shows anybody, I still know that she's an airport. If you stop at her coffee shop, she'll charge you extra for a plastic top. The well-water ice cubes have heard this tale told before, but she's an airport. A zebra's chewing gum can confirm the reports that she's an airport. If you take off your shoes after the security stop, she'll throw them in the air and they'll land in the baggage cart. Run down the runway to the center of the day, where the sun is pointing down to the ground. Reach all the way down to touch your toes and remember a story that you'll want to pass along someday. Run down the runway into the center of the day, where the sun is pointing to the ground. Reach all the way down to touch your toes and remember a story that you'll want to pass along someday. She's an airport and her father is a farm filled with corn stalks. Her mother is a candy factory spinning reflective baubles. She's an airport and her father is a farm filled with corn stalks. Her mother is a candy factory spinning reflective baubles. Every color If I could implicate, if I could talk to you, I will some more. And just like in today's world of opinion and denunciation and admirable like in pictures and friendliness and outward ugliness, maybe I'm on the thrust of that. She dreamed she was a train draped in robin's egg lace. She couldn't keep still in one place. She dreamed she was the only train running on the 4th of July, filled with whipped cream to burst and streamers to fly. She dreamed she was a train running past the impound lot, and after every platform on the route, she'd whisper, "I still love Phil." She was sad when they closed the gates up at night. She dreamed she was a train filled with die-cast metal engines and cowboy hats, ordered by the civil rights worker's favorite daughter. She dreamed she was a train and her earrings were flashing orange lights. She waved hello to the one car she'd stopped at the tiny suburban crossing, a train to get the tracks loose and rattling. Rattling tracks reminds her of those aunts and uncles talking over each other at her grandma's birthday. 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 Birthday! All right. I did not write this. A very great man wrote this many years ago. Here she comes. She got them gold hot pants on again. Yeah, man. I want to talk, but I don't know. She's a peach. She was dark. She was tan. She made me glad to be a man. She was young. She was smart. Just one glance and she stole my heart. The kind of girl you want to teach. She's a peach. Summertime, feeling fine, getting wild. All that's on my mind. Here she comes, dressed in red. Get her done is all that's in my head. Her hot pants can't hide her cheeks. She's a peach. She was pure, every ounce. I was sure when her titties bounced. Every way, she's a winner. Turn a gay preacher to a sinner. No one you want your mama to meet. She's a peach. I would die if I kissed her. I would try, but I'm last on her list. She's so cool, and I'm so ugly. I'd be a fool to think that she could love me. This kind of girl's always out of reach. She's a peach. It's dedicated to you, Van. Like peach on the beach, right? Fucking peach on the beach. God, getting loose. All right, this is another one that we've performed a lot here on the quarantine stream. Done it because I think it's important to do. as I have noted previously noted, this is written about a real person who has no idea that she will truly never know that this was written about her. Not that it was a big secret or anything. And I do wonder what she would make out of it. If she was as the English would say, that I'm taking the piss, but I am in fact not. This is a sign of respect and perhaps even gratitude. This is she inadvertently helped me out during a very tough time. This is and she really did God's work. Whether or not she will ever know that or not. Anyway, this is called Allison, Where the Blue Sea and Icebergs Are. She's ice cream in there. She's down the hall. She uses words like everything and all. I can hear her, but I can't make out her features. I know she spends her weekends in a cement cinema making notes. The girl next to her tries to see what she wrote. Allison wonders why the guy in the elevator keeps glancing at her and why the weather keeps jumping between rain and sun every 30 minutes. She keeps saying, "Quit asking me questions. I'm the one that's innocent." As people assume she's joking, Allison wonders, what are the windows thinking on a day where there's a white line down the center of the sky? Her mind cuts back to the guy on the elevator. Quick, look at me, look at you. We are equals. Allison wonders if she can keep hiding while knowing that they're following me. Allison writes, what started out as hopes are now just observations, mostly about nature, and being young stops being fascinating once it's done. Allison looks down at her bowl of spinach, and her eyes focus down on the details of one leaf, and she quietly speaks. An atheist sees this and can only think of the mud that it grows from. Allison writes, we extend grace out of our own sense of grace, and smiles because she's not sure if that's something of her own or something that she's half remembering from 2 or 3 incarnations ago. Allison considers why her back and hands are so slippery when she's invisible, and then tells her sister, my tongue is a graffiti sponge. I wonder if I'll have to make love in front of a judge. Allison considers that she's a character who looks and acts exactly like her, then draws a bath with the lights off. Allison invites her guest to walk barefoot while cherries and red confetti float out of her phone. Allison considers emptying cash registers as the security cameras lose power, but what she mostly wants are completely natural segues with no artificial blends. So with that, make thoughts your aim or nerve blaming when all meet with you at your beginnings, but make allowances for their worn-out tools and make dreams a trap for fools after they are gone. Right? This is, I think, a very beautiful poem that is from the most recent book. This is called Rubber Buttons. Needs to be kept simmering, and the time should flow slowly and quietly. Let's go! My shoelaces are undone, which means someone likes me, as much as I love to see a basket of swimming snowflakes. My shoelaces are undone, so I throw them next to the trunk full of styrofoam tongues, and the person who brought them yells, "Thank you!" The first person in the castle has the obvious advantage if they wish to scrape their fingernails against century-old windows. They can concentrate vacantly while being unfailingly polite at insisting their hands are made of the same sand as found outside on the beach. They know there is no joy in failure for their friends, and that the fun and restoration happens once the work is done. The second person in the castle has obvious ease with boldly seizing treasure only they can see through a fizzing camera lens. They can research quietly while having no qualms about their ambition outstripping their abilities in assessing gaudy antiques. They know there is no lemon rich enough in sourness to let their... Are you fucking kidding me? To let their taste get challenged into swallowing insects and soiled tents. The third person in the castle has the obvious edge when turning their profile to face the east in hopes of repairing a table leg. They can dutifully saw and sweep the dust into the bin until the bell sounds them and slicing up vegetables in the kitchen. They know there is no creek deep enough to keep them from molding jellies into a series of perfectly semi-translucent wedges. I want brass buttons for my cousin, because when I could not count for cufflinks, They counted for me. Because I could not look for light bulbs, they looked for me. Because I could not dance for diamonds, they danced for me. They realized the chateau has the clear advantage as the place to evaluate flashy antiques. I want brass buttons for my cousin, but I make the rubber buttons to wear for myself. While I sew, I look at the library and remember each of my most memorable finds. I want brass buttons for my cousin, but when I make the rubber buttons I wear on my jacket, I buy the materials from the tan-toothed man who sold my mother a gold wishing box. I want brass buttons for my cousin, because when I preach with the collar, it preaches with me. I want brass buttons for my cousin, because when I move with the minnows, they move with me. They realize the chateau has the clear advantage for when you're evaluating flashy antiques. Let's go! Well, it's always right, aren't it? My shoelaces are undone, so I only walk sideways and photograph a plum purple terracotta planet with a flag with a price tag sticking out of it. Ding! Sold American. Oh, it's hard to know. My shoelaces are undone, which means someone likes me as much as I love wearing an apricot ascot while hearing stories about Korean camping sites. The first person in the tower can brighten their senses by energetically exchanging sunglasses and hairstyles once safely ensconced up at the top. They can cheerfully sing along with anything, though they prefer Caruso and ragtime to songs they don't already know. There is usually a fixed point in the distance for them to focus on things such as a helicopter taking off or a hawk taking off shortly after dawn. The second person in the tower can loudly shout, "How I love my girl," which echoes back so overwhelmingly they can think that they are in a private booth. They can detect the scent of her shampoo in the wind and look down to see her looking up and running towards them. There is normally an iron staircase nailed in 40 years ago, which serves as the one modern addition to the edifice. The third person in the tower can tell endless jokes over dinner about the rabbits they saw nipping chocolate from their mother's open purses. They can wear a lei around their necks, which contrasts sharply with their pinstripe sport coat and tauten flat cap. There is always a sauna, where they can fall asleep underneath a slippery painting of their father, all dressed up as a captain. My shoelaces are undone. They lay underneath the warmth of the sun. This is a true depiction, recited with excellent diction. Let's go! And now I recall other memories from walking around the castle, the humidity kept at bay, clouds letting loose, only hints of rain, and vines intertwining across each other in each new flower that blooms, another gift for the dozens of bees in love with the newness of June. It's all on top of my eyes. The curious sage in an orange and brown dashiki, standing before a statue of the stripped Christ, arms open and hovering. All on top of my eyes, lithium batteries in between her teeth. She holds a screwdriver dipped in green paint as she walks over underground cables. All on top of my eyes, in between her toes, she staves off headaches with gallons of water and sleeping while she can. All on top of my eyes, the swells of excitement are just one continued drone. Close concert of ideas. Stretching fingers. You did a great job today. Devoted. Seriously. All on top of my eyes. One wonder. One today. This is a very special one. This is very special. I did not write this. Perhaps the single greatest man who has ever lived. The only human being, the only person that I've ever looked up to. The only person that I revere. Wrote this. A truly great man. You know who he is. This one's dedicated to all you phallic worshippers out there in good old splendor. Well, I've got a story to tell. Ooh, you say you found Jesus and he's the only one. You say you found the Buddha sitting in the sun. You say you found Mohammed bowing to the east. You say you found Krishna dancing in the streets. Well, there's something missing in this God Almighty stew, and it's your mother. It's your mother. You've got to serve yourself. Ain't nobody gonna do for you. You got to serve yourself. Ain't nobody gonna do for you. Don't forget your mother, boy. Well, you may believe in devils and you may believe in lords, but you're gonna have to serve yourself. No room service here, honey. You say we came from monkeys, or something weird like that. You say the Garden of Eden is really where it's at. You say we came from spaceships that maybe ran out of gas. You say we came from nowhere, and this too will pass. Well, wherever we all came from, we sure as hell are here. And who the hell you cry for when the boogeyman is near, and it's your mother? Too much monkey business around here, mother. Well, you may believe in Mickey Mouse or even Donald Duck, but who the hell you turn to when you really need a woo-hoo? That's right, it's your mother. You can't do it by yourself. You go blind doing that. You say you found Jesus and say that he's the only one. You say you found the Buddha and he's a lots of fun. Well, now, you say you found Muhammad and he's the only way. Say you found Krishna and he's the light of your day. Well, there's one thing missing in this God Almighty stew, and it's your mother. Well, it's your mother. You got to serve yourself. Ain't nobody gonna do for you. Got to serve yourself. Ain't nobody gonna do for you. Well, you may believe in devils and you may believe in lords, but you're gonna have to serve yourself. There ain't no room service here, honey. I mean, they just ain't just got time. Oh, mother, you got to serve yourself. Ain't nobody gonna do for you. Oh, serve yourself. Ain't nobody gonna do you. Well, you may believe in devils and you may believe in lords, but you're gonna have to serve yourself. Ain't no accountants here, boy. Get yourself a lawyer. Well, you know that 2 is company, and 3's a family, and 'neath the tree of knowledge, a holy trinity. You can't have one without the other. As sure as night follows day, and that's the law of Nietzsche. Can't be any other way. Well, you may believe in devils and you may believe in lords, but God, you're gonna have to serve yourself, honey. It's not nice to fool with Mother Nature. Well, you tell me that you found old Jesus, and you tell me that he's the only one. Oh, you tell me you found Buddha, and he's a hell of a lot of fun. And you say you found Mohammed, and he's the only way. You say you found Krishna, God bless you, and he's the light of your day. Well, there's one thing missing in this God Almighty stew, and it's your mother. Yes, it's your mother. Relax, Bobby's here. When did you last call your mother? about 2,000 years, I believe. Spell M-O-T-H-E-R. Yeah, it's your mother. Well, it's your mother. What does she say? She says, you got to serve yourself. Ain't nobody gonna do for you. Oh, serve yourself. Ain't nobody gonna do for you. Well, you may believe in devils and you may believe in lords, but you're gonna have to serve yourself, honey. Get in line. Stand in line. Oh, mama, I've been such a bad boy. I've been worshiping false idols. I gotta confess, mama. I gotta get this thing off my chest, mama. And on to yours. You got to serve yourself. Ain't nobody gonna do for you. You got to serve yourself. Ain't nobody gonna do for you. Well, you may believe in devils and you may believe in lords, but you're gonna have to serve yourself, honey. Ain't no accountants, lawyers, waiters, cleaning windows, and God knows what else. We ain't all got that, honey. I mean, love your mother. She's the only one you got. Serve yourself. Ain't nobody gonna do for you. Serve yourself. Ain't nobody gonna do for you. Well, you may believe in devils and you may believe in lords, but you're gonna have to serve yourself. This ain't the plaza. Who did I say, the plaza? And this is White Cello, which is similar. Interesting, huh? It's not far off from that we just did. This is dedicated to Van, right? Talk to me. I'm in the open window. I'm not in time, but I've got your watch and I need to learn to play this white cello. Scratch the surface. I'm on the shore with a can of sugar. It's never bitter. I'd really rather be playing, though, because I like the white strings and the white bow. That's not her. That's her was the simplest thing you said today. I'm still reeling with no moments except now. You don't possess any microscopes, so instead I will take the telescope. I'm trying to be angelic, which isn't easy after getting desensitized with disappointments every night, eating fresh vegetables, but planning. You already know, and then you talk me out of it, and God bless you. Thank goodness for you. Thank God for you every single day. You don't have a pistol in your waistcoat. Your teeth aren't flecked with flax seeds. My misjudgments are my own, and most are unknown. But just because I'm a pacifist doesn't mean I'll let any dumb motherfucker abuse me. And speaking of myself, notice me. I'm standing next to the tree where the guy crashed the stolen car, then got out and ran for it. But I can behave for over 100 days, and I've squandered my efforts and so much goodwill that I sometimes still need to convince myself that I should try to take lessons to learn how to play it all. But I'm sure that you want me to, and I know what I can do. And with that, we're not missing anything. We're humming songs through the phone. We're midnight movers. We're holy rollers without a religion. No, we're not. And don't be the guy on the bike in the right lane racing for his life against rush hour traffic in the morning. I know you are, and you know that I care, and I feel like I'm Clark Kent, all dressed up in primary colors, and I just haven't taken off my glasses yet. She said to me, as long as it's not evil, and I said to her, honey, baby, I cannot fucking be evil. Certainly not right now. Get your fucking ass back in the house and don't fucking call me any longer. We ain't gonna get ice cream on my birthday. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna fucking happen. I fucking do things as they're supposed to be done. Don't ever forget that. All right? I am not fucking capable of that fucking bullshit. But you get what I'm saying. But it's the rising sun. It's the hard-boiled egg. It's basil. It's a blue charm. I just want to play the white cello. I just want to sit in a circle and think about it some more. So we're gonna wrap this up, or we're gonna test people's patience. No, I'm thinking out loud. It's warm communication going on over here. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. So instead we're gonna change some channels. Quarters, dimes, and nickels, and all sunbathers must be wearing a blue suit. Go to the slants and cut off your slants. It'll be like reverse safari where they put lions and cheetahs and tigers in a truck and drive around and showing people shopping and walking around the street or down the street or pumping gas. It'll be the apex of manifestation. It won't be something that's in the Bible, but it will be exactly like the Bible. Or it'll be a suburban safari where some guy named Greg gives you a little pith helmet and plastic binoculars and you wait underneath his kitchen table for the cat to use the litter box. But why does it gotta be white? Never heard from before. Advertising space available. Clean, clear water. And, of course, the tastiest tomatoes. Ah, yes. A blue wave sprayed oh no, let's yeah. This is called Party of Colors. Her eyes open while she feels let's start over. Her eyes open while pretending she can feel her fontanelle. She thought she might be a post person or her own cousin. She read the news, fear of law and God and man and law and God and man, infinite dynamic, infinite dynamic, infinite dynamic, infinite dynamic loop. She was one image at a time, so she thought she must be a person, right? She wrote some news, platitudes aren't solutions, and fill space between waves. Now I'm new. And she also knew that the feeling of being new was something that she could always circle back around to. One more fucking time! She read the news, fear of law and God and man, infinite dynamic, infinite dynamic, infinite dynamic, infinite dynamic, infinite dynamic loop. She was one image at a time, so she thought that she was must be a person, right? She wrote some news, platitudes aren't solutions, and fill space between waves. Now I'm new, and she also knew that the feeling of being new was something that she could always circle back around to. This is Honeybee 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like a coral pink butterfly heading to me. You're looking through your jeweled eyes. I'm waiting for your surprise. A birthday card, an aquarium hung on the wall. A memory in a vein swimming around. Arriving late to hear a favorite song. Flying, flying like a honeybee that counts the flap of its wings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keeping everything else alive. Bubbles on the honeycomb coming together in unusually warm weather. Honeybee 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keeping everything else alive. Let's do it. A blue wave sprayed gently onto the window. It remained an unfaded crescent reaching over the rooftop. Birds flew through, untethered droplets yawned and sonorous applauded. The shape succumbed, giving way by matching passing movements. As when water splashes in the sky, a maypole stands unraveled, while a sunfish kisses a butterfly. The fences were then a canvas, soaked tissue paper sprung over electrical wires, fragile forktails freshly shaven, as bronze tiger beetles glanced up at the heavens. Dance the night away! And this, folks, is our final piece of the night. It could only end one way, I think. So yeah, we hope that you have enjoyed all of this. This is free expression. Freest. Always, all the time. Now then! Now then! Now then! Now then, now then, now then. The present is in the future. History is present. The future is present. The present is present, and history is history. When we see the future pushed to the foreground wonderfully, all three, you and me, and as the wonderful Diane once said, we love you, Kim Diane, as she once so wisely said, I hope our future is like flying birds. The weather is in the sea, gravityless moment caught and dotted with cherry trees and colored pencils. There is very little in life that matches what I feel when you smile at what I whisper back to you. We're in the room and out of nowhere, looking at the inlet, together in letters and circles. Like a slit in the curtain, like a fluttering bird ready to bathe, like an oxidized copper fountain. I want to be with you, always, all the time. like a white shirt with a fresh grass stain, like a streetlight breathing air, like waving from the top of a ladder. You plan all the plans, always, all the time. Like a strawberry on the counter, like fingernails washed clean, like a bee being curious of a new flower. You are adorable, always, all the time. Like pickled ginger on salmon, like a workbench in the sun, like an invention imagined. We are here with each other, always, all the time. Like a cat cornering a grasshopper, like a licked stamp pressed with a thumb, like a rectangle with unbroken corners. You are mine, I am yours, always, all time. And that, folks, is another exciting edition of the quarantine stream. I really hope that you have enjoyed all of this. It has been really creatively stimulating and incredibly gratifying to be able to do this. As I said before, never having any time constraints, never having to deal with any censorship of any sort. It is really remarkable. And we will be back. We have some really cool stuff planned for the rest of the year. So I don't think I'm telling any sort of tales out of school. We will be back in October. So it'll be, most likely it'll be a very different thing, but it'll be hopefully really enjoyable for all of you. And like I said, thank you for hanging in there, because I have at times been a bit confrontational or a bit, perhaps very abstract. So I do not take that for granted. So I love having the space to do what I do, and to really be able to express myself. It's it's kind of what everything in my life is based around, So anyway, with that, let us hear the quarantine stream theme one more time, shall we? Play it loud and proud. All right, folks. Like I said, this has been really amazing, and I have really loved doing all of this. And also a huge thank you to first of all the van, because he gave the space for this to happen, and let me just sort of jump on in. The first broadcast was very unplanned, and I just he was cool with it and stayed cool with it. And again, it truly, there was never any limits, and that's the most important thing in the world. The artist has to be able to create as they see fit, and Van does that. I do that, and we are out there. We are out there. There are people who put it out there the way that it is supposed to get put out there, the way that it should be. And like I said, we will be back in October, later in October. And so huge thanks to Van, and huge thanks to whatever audience this is built. It's a tiny one, but again, we are out there, and it's the it's just, we're tracing the dim signal. To quote one of my book titles, it's all just these little connections out there, and it's really important, especially in such a absurd time that we live in. It's more important than ever, I think. And also a huge thanks to Kazari Ego Graphics for doing the poster designs, and a huge thanks to my incredible wife for putting up with the noise and me focusing so much on this stuff. And really big thanks to all of our wonderful opening acts. We had Max and the Fuck. Wow, Beautiful was amazing. Porno was a lot of fun. And Luke Peabody, who was the very first. And then, of course, the inimitable, pulverizingly powerful stickers. And they're all going to be back later in the year as well. So that'll be really cool. It's very much something to look forward to. And yeah. Oh, and I am going to be, so I will plug fluxlifeinc.com. Go to fluxlifeinc.com. All of my work is available there. So that's really cool. And then I will be live at Christ Church in River Forest on September the 10th. I will be performing live, and I think we're also going to stream that here. So that'll be happening at September the 10th. So that'll be really exciting. It'll be really cool to do that, and we're going to have a lot of people performing. It's going to be a whole long stream of people. So that's pretty awesome, and I'm really looking forward to doing that. So anyway, so I will say this for the final time, I suppose, but I will say it. I'm sure I'll say it again at some point or another. Just remember, everybody. Stay safe. Stay smart. Here's the most important part. Stay free, because you already are. Do not let anyone ever tell you otherwise. Anyone who tells you that you are not free is just trying to make you a psychological slave, and do not let them. Your own power is unmatched. Okay, do not ever forget that. You are free. Okay? All right. With that, all right. I'm gonna go now. All right, goodbye everyone. Goodbye. Love you.